today the focus is on finding an energetic calm, and I have found that our Tuesday nights are really best when, for me, when they are slower, when we take our time, and when we focus on really just allowing ourselves to be. So being in a more receptive physical position and then mental and emotional as well. So we're going to go that way. And so if you have blocks or blankets, pillows, things like that, whenever we do our slower restorative kind of practice, then you want to keep those close by. So we will start seated, just to physically, mentally, and emotionally step into our practice. It's good to have that long spine, and soon enough we'll collapse. So let's have hands resting. Let's bring them in maybe close in towards the upper thighs, the palms flipped up. Actually, let's bring the palms down for a moment. Just connect hands to thighs for a moment. And then flip the palms up. We'll start to relax the face. And slowly follow the breath. Following the breath, let yourself sink in. However that feels to you, where that's sinking in, what does it feel like? Let it be that. And even sink into a deeper breath. That sinking in is no longer resisting and just being. Cultivating the breath into its fullest expression that you can find at this time. We'll now bring the soles of the feet together. And let's just start to roll the head down. So releasing the chin first, taking a couple deep breaths here. And then eventually releasing the shoulders, the upper back, mid back, low back. You can keep the hands in a neutral place, or you can send the hands forward. At some point, because we'll be here for, let's say, at least a couple minutes, at some point you might bring arms underneath. You might even start that from the beginning to help keep the head low and every exhalation lower. Giving ourselves permission to continue to sink in. The next, maybe 2 or even 3 breaths that you take, let the exhalation come out through the mouth to help ourselves really let go and clear any obstacles in our way to reception. And then returning to an even breath with the lips sealed, inhaling maybe 5 or 6, maybe 7 or even 10 seconds, and then allowing the exhalation to match that. But let's say you've had a particularly difficult or stressful day and you really need to let go of that, then elongate the exhalation a little bit more than the inhale. Now we'll be here for about 5 more breaths. And slowly we'll start to rise. So little by little, using the hands. So rather than activating the spine, use the hands to walk them in, and then they will support the spine as it unfolds and unrounds. And then the head rising last. Now let's fold the legs into each other, so ankles crossing. And before we move forward, I'd like to just address the neck so that we can free it up from built up tension in the day. So on the next exhalation, bring the chin to the chest, but keep the chin in and towards the neck rather than dropping the whole head and bending the neck. Now we'll go ahead and lift the chin and lower the chin, and then just breathing consistently but moving between these breaths, taking head up and taking head down. Let's go ahead and bring the head to center, and then we'll begin to move left and right. So we don't have to go so slow here in accordance with the breath. We can still keep the breath long and slow, but move the head maybe at a slightly faster pace. So the focus here is to increase the mobility in the neck. Now let's also work with the eyes. So we're going to bring the head to center, turn the head to the left, and then trace this direction with the eyes. So taking the eyes as far left as you possibly can. A couple deep breaths. And inhale, bring the head to center. Relax the eyes for a moment. So before we go to the other side, just kind of feel what that was like. The eyes coming back to neutral, and then we'll turn the head to the right. Now take the eyes and trace them right. So really trying to look behind you without really twisting the spine, just focusing on the neck. Allowing ourselves to activate the eyes to prevent and maybe even relieve tension there. And now we'll go ahead and inhale, come back to center. Relax the eyes for a moment. And let's take one ear towards the sky, stretching sides of the neck. We'll start to move the chin a little bit, so while we maintain this tilt, just lift the chin up a little and then lower it. A few more deep breaths. And we'll inhale, bring the head to center, tilt the opposite ear upwards, lift it upwards. When you're ready, incorporate some motion here. And another deep breath. And we'll bring the head to center and just let the head go for a moment. Let it rock a little bit side to side like a pendulum. Feeling loose here, not so much controlling the head, but just encouraging motion side to side. And then we'll take a big breath in, lifting the head, taking the head back. And now we're going to clear the breath but add voice to it. So on the exhale, sigh out through the mouth and then lower the head. Ah. 2 more of these. Inhaling, lifting the head and taking it back. Exhale, sighing out. Ah. Releasing all tension and obstructions from letting ourselves feel peace and joy. Once again, lifting the head, inhaling, and exhaling. Ah. And we'll bring the head to center. We're going to find our way to the back, but take a block with you, or 2 if you have 2. Keep them close at all times today, just in case. We're going to start with an active back bend, and then it'll become passive. And this will help us neutralize the hip area, the leg crease. So let's first just have the feet planted, bring the arms alongside the body, and just start to, with the arms alongside the body, start to guide the knees towards one side and then over towards the other. But we will keep the feet connected to the mat. So the knees never touch. They just kind of follow one another. Now as you're doing this, you can keep arms where they are. Just move the head in the opposite direction as the knees. You might go slow or you might go more quickly, so long as the breath is consistently deep and long, focused. And we will come back to center, knees pointing upwards. Begin to walk the feet in towards each other so the heels come close to the bottom, maybe even touch. And then squeeze the shoulders back, walking them back. Pull the pelvis in so the low back meets the mat. And then when you're ready, begin to lift the pelvic bone upwards towards the sky, where you'll also begin to walk shoulders even further towards each other. You might interlace fingers and press arms down. You might have elbows down with forearms up, good for tighter chest and shoulders. Squeeze the glutes a little bit more, activate them. Activate the inner thighs by pulling the knees inward towards each other, and take 3 more deep breaths. Letting the belly rise and fall with deep diaphragmatic breathing. And release the arms, release the hips. Right from here, we're going to take the feet towards the sky and hold the feet with the hands to come up into a happy baby. So from here, we'll explore a little bit. Notice any tightness that you're dealing with. We can call that tightness also obstructions. So maybe bending knees or straightening legs. Might be holding big toes or outer or inner edges of the feet. And really give yourself a chance to play around with that. So if you shift the hands into a different position, notice what that, sensation that creates in the shoulders. And now find a position that just feels really nice, just nice and sweet, mild discomfort, something you can sustain. And then close the eyes and let's just be in this posture. Ananda Balasana, happy baby. Really letting the weight of the arms encourage the legs to open. So keeping those hands pushed onto the tops of the feet, or they might be pulling the big toes. As you're still here, focusing on being in this position and breathing through it and just enjoying it. Soften the corners of the eyes, soften the inner corners, soften the outer corners. Soften the upper edge, the lower edge, the eyelids, the eyebrows. And we'll also clear some breath here. So clearing tension through the breath. Inhale through the nose. Release out through the mouth. You might want to incorporate voice in this again. So 2 more times, inhaling. Feeling the sigh reverberate through the whole body. Again. And we'll release. Bring the feet down to the mat. Now we're going to find a passive back bend. So find a block, blanket, books, whatever you're working with, and set one underneath the sacrum. So feeling right above the tailbone. One block here. So we're just going to start with the lower height for now. And you might have hand to heart, hand to belly, or arms behind or alongside the body. Just noticing how it feels with this elevation. And then we will go to the next step. So you might have the lower level on your block, and you can lift the hips and get it to the second level. Now, as you're here, relax the glutes. No need to contract them at this time. We have the support coming from something else to create this back bend. Not the physical body, but an object, very helpful object.
So we're going to go into the third level if it works for your body. And you have options. You can either lift the hips enough, you'll probably need to rise up to the toes to get to that third level with the block, one block, or you can get 2 blocks on top of each other. And then it's a little bit more stable that way with the surface. So with the 1 block that is on its highest level, a leg can be lifted. You just have to be careful because there's less support. So go ahead and experiment now and just see how it feels to lift a leg and set it down and lift the other leg. I don't know about both legs. Don't know about both legs with the, no, I wouldn't do it. I would stick to if you've got 2 blocks. Or if you have, as long as you have more surface, then you can take both legs up. But just for now, today we'll work with 1 at a time, unless you feel otherwise works for you. And at some point, start to straighten 1 leg forward. And now it's going to really depend on how high the hips are, how it feels for you. So if you take 1 leg forward and just let the heel come down, and just see. And then you might eventually return to leg lifting. So let's take let's say at least another minute here just to explore. And let's meet with the left foot down and the right leg risen. And then check in with the block. See if your fingers can come to the we'll call it the front of the block, the one that's closer to that bottom foot. And walk the shoulders back towards each other a little bit more here using that resistance of the block. And then you might even keep hands there, but we're going to roll the ankle, the right foot. We'll circle the foot a few times, going one way. A few times the other way. Then we'll flex and point. And then let's flex the foot and take 3 deep breaths. So letting ourselves just be in that discomfort, noticing any tightness in the back of the leg. And we'll release the foot and switch legs. So left leg lifts upwards. Here we'll start to take circles. We'll circle the other way. It's always surprising how much tension is in these ankles. And we'll flex and point the foot a few times. And focus on just flexing the foot, keeping the leg as straight as you can. 3 deep breaths. And start to release, bring this foot down. And we're going to start to lower the hips little by little. So if you are on the third level, go to the second level. And if you're on the second, you go straight to the first. But if you were at the third, give yourself a moment before you release. Okay, and then once you find the hips back down to the mat, we will bring the arms alongside the body as we did before and just start to encourage knees to go to one side and then the other side. Keeping feet connected to the mat, knees away from each other. Maybe move the head in the opposite direction. And we'll be bringing the knees back to center, stretching them forward, stretching legs forward, straightening the legs, taking arms back, stretching the arms, lifting the belly button. And what we'll do here is plant the feet down, open the knees, bring the soles of the feet together. We have the arms behind right now. Just take a few deep breaths here, allowing ourselves to feel this physically open posture. A nice clearing breath out through the mouth. And now we'll bring the arms down alongside the body. But we're going to push into the elbows to rise up. So the head is going to follow the back. As you lift it up, bring the head so you're facing forward. Press into one hand at a time. And then right from here, we're going to fold right over the legs just like we did before. You might encourage the body a little bit more. So if you didn't take forearms under the lower legs before, maybe now you can. And see maybe if you can find a place for the head to rest as well. So you might be able to bring a block right on top of the feet. Watching that platform can go lower and lower with time. We're going to take, let's say, 1 more minute here. This is in complete surrender to the posture without any resistance. Just sinking in. Now, little by little, we'll start to rise. So we can begin with the hands, walk them in. The head will rise last. And then let's switch over to hands and knees. So we're going to cross ankles so we can roll forward. We'll move through a few cat-cows here. That'll help the spine move and connect with each other. All the little parts fit. So inhaling, belly relaxing, tailbone rising, head rising. Exhaling, belly engaging, tailbone and head shifting down. Let's take a few more. Each time you're in your cat posture with the belly pulled up and the back rounding, come up to your fingertips and see if that'll get you a little higher up into the upper back as well. And you might stay there when you're coming into your cow, or you might return to palms. But then exhaling, returning to fingertips and lifting up. Okay, so what we'll do is come to neutral spine. And then we're going to come to standing on the knees for a moment. And from standing, we'll be activating the upper back so that we can kind of help what's going on there from all the things we've done with our arms today. So on the inhale, reach the arms upwards. You can let the palms face each other. On the exhale, draw the elbows to 90-degree angles, squeezing the back muscles. Palms facing forward. Inhale, lift the arms, palms can face each other again. Exhale, bend the elbows and draw them in. Take a few more of these. Go nice and slow, maybe even let yourself feel a sense of resistance in this as you put effort into drawing the elbows downward. Tracing the motion with the breath, Ujjayi breath. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and keep the arms so that we have these bent elbows out to the sides. And then as you're here, bring the weight into the left knee so you can bring the right foot forward. And then sink into the right knee. Keep the arms as they are. Send the heart forward, maybe even let the head come back. Or good for the neck, bring the chin in towards the chest a few times. Not towards the chest, excuse me. Tuck the chin in towards the neck, right? Chin tucks. You can do this a few times so we can correct the length of the back of the neck. And then you might keep the head at a neutral position, so making sure the chin isn't jutting forward but slightly drawn in. Take another deep breath. And then bring the palms together. Relax the shoulders, relax the back. We're going to come into a twist from here. So let's take the left elbow outside of the right knee or thigh. You can take the upper arm towards the thigh.
And then we'll start to twist to the right. Turn the fingers inwards so that you shift the hands to point towards the neck or the chest, depending on how deep the twist is, looking past the right elbow without bending the neck. Right? Just a twist of the neck. We'll take a few more deep breaths here. And then we'll look down at the right foot and bring the hands down around the right foot. Let's start to shift the weight back and walk hands back to come to seated. Now we have some options here. You can sit on the heel, you can bring foot to the thigh, or if possible, see if you can bring the foot to the outside of the left hip. So if you're going to do this, then we can turn this into a different posture as well. So right from here, flex the right foot. Inhale, reach the arms upwards. Exhale, hinge forward, and then we'll bring the hands down to the mat. Keep the hands shoulders distance apart from each other. And the inhale, lift the heart. On the exhale, sink the heart forward and closer to the foot. Inhaling, lifting the heart just by merely inhaling and inflating the body. And then exhaling, sinking in just by that exhalation. So it's a natural process. We're watching it and being a part of it. So the inhale and inflation, exhale, deflation. And then we'll let the head go while we're here. So continuing and releasing the head. So you might even come into a bit of a rounding position with the spine. That's okay. You might keep the hands forward, arms extended. You might even release the elbows and just let them fall. Now, if you have the left foot to the outside of the left hip, you'll start to open the knees. So you're going to take the left knee and open it out to the left. You can just stay as you are in the upper body. Again, being a part of this natural process of inhaling, filling, rising, exhaling, emptying, and falling. We'll slowly start to come out of this. So if you had that knee out to the left, you can start to bring it to center. And then let's begin to rise. And what we'll do is extend the left leg forward and come all the way down to the back. So once you're on the back, we will have the feet planted. The arms can stay alongside the body or behind. And just start to let the knees fold to one side and then over to the other. So you're going to feel an imbalance in the back. We want to be aware of that as we're moving side to side.
You'll notice as you take knees side to side that that imbalance is kind of spreading around, it's kind of evening out just a little. And then we'll be getting into the other side in a moment. Okay, so to rise, we'll bring the feet to the mat. Open the feet, bring the feet together, open the knees. Bring the arms down alongside the body. Push into the elbows, let the head lift with the body, the trunk, and then begin to take one hand at a time until you rise. Now we're not going to stay here as long as we did earlier, but we're just going to fold in and let the back stretch for a moment. Low back. Let the head go. Feel the hamstrings, the inner thighs, the groin opening. Take a good clearing breath here. And then we'll start to unroll, using the hands to rise. Cross the ankles, roll forward onto hands and knees. Let's just take a few cat-cows here. And then come to neutral spine. Rise up to standing on the knees. Let's say about 10 times, we're going to do the same thing with our arms. So we'll inhale, reach the arms upwards. Exhale, bend the elbows, squeeze the back muscles. Inhaling up. And you can take the elbows, create 90-degree angles, or you can draw them in closer towards the waist. So 8 more. Okay, we'll meet with the elbows bent, the palms facing forward, and this time we'll be stepping, bringing weight to the right knee, step the left foot forward, and then sink into the left knee, making sure that we have left knee over left ankle and not past the left ankle. Now we'll send the heart forward. Maybe here we can take some more chin tucks. We put a lot of extra pressure on our spine when the neck is out of line with it. So it's important to keep it in its natural curve and not too far extended forward like a lot of us have. So this really, really helps with that. And then we can just relax the head for the most part, relax the neck. And then we'll bring the palms together. Let the shoulders relax, and we'll find our twist. So right elbow outside of the left knee, or maybe the upper arm outside of the thigh, depending. Palms together. And then turn the fingers to point inward, maybe towards the neck or the chest. And then let the head turn so we can gaze past the left elbow. And pull the low belly in. About 3 more deep breaths. Nice long twist.
We'll look down at the left foot, bring the hands down around the foot, and then we'll walk the hands back to come to our seat, where you'll find the right position for your legs. Maybe the foot to the outside of the right hip. We'll flex the left foot. Sit up tall. Inhale, reach the arms up. Look upwards. Exhale, fold forward. Bring the hands down. Let them be shoulders distance, just so we could keep the chest open. And then allowing the breath to guide the body. But of course, you're the one that's guiding the breath. So coming back into that inhalation, the rising, the inflation, filling, exhalation, releasing, sinking, emptying, falling. And then at some point, you'll allow the head to also lower, relaxing the neck. Being a part of this process of filling and emptying, rising and falling. If you have your foot to the outside of the hip, you might open the knee, the right knee out to the right, and then continue to sink in. And little by little, we'll start to rise, using the hands to help. Bring this right leg forward, come down to the back, and bring the knees down and start to take them again side to side, keeping the feet connected to the mat and the knees apart from each other. Hopefully you could sense that the low back has opened up compared to when we were first in this position at the beginning of our practice today. Now what we're going to do is roll to the side, all the way to the side, and then press up to seated. So before we rest, I'm going to give the arms and the neck a little bit more attention. So we'll start by rolling the shoulders a few times. Just loosen up. You can go one way, you can go the other way. And then we'll take, we'll say the right arm upwards, bend the arm, take left fingers to right elbow, lower the head, and then bring the head back to neutral position and start to push the head back into the arms in one way or another, whether it's back into the head or the elbow, whatever you can get. And let this right tricep open up. Now, if you can get the bind behind the back, go for it, but sometimes that's going to be less effective because then we're focusing on two arms, and right now this is a good way to target the tricep. Let's feel the underarm opening. Another deep breath. And release the right arm. Bring the right arm in front. Hook the left elbow in front of the right arm. Draw it in. Release this arm. Take the left arm up overhead. Bend that arm, right fingers to left elbow. Drop the head, and then lift the head and send it back. It's like a really strong chin tuck here. Got some resistance with the arm. We'll release the arm, bring it in front, hook right elbow in front of left. Draw it in. And release. Take one ear up towards the sky, 2 deep breaths. Head to neutral, other ear up. Head to neutral. And now we're ready to rest. So let's come all the way down to the back. And set yourself up so that you can totally surrender to the posture, completely let go of the body. Letting everything get heavier and heavier. And so on right here, you might take a clearing breath out through the mouth and just let go completely. And then allow the whole body to become very heavy from the head, the back, the arms, the legs. Now without moving anything and just using your awareness, let the body now be light, feeling lighter in the head and the arms and the back and the legs. So light that maybe you feel like the body begins to float. Now turn that back into heaviness, and maybe you fill the body with sand and it becomes heavy and it sets right back down onto the mat, fully weighted. And now again, let it feel lighter, maybe like you are now filled up with helium, and you start to rise again. Now see if you can come back into heaviness and lightness all at the same time, letting the body as if it is filled with sand and weighted, and yet filled with helium and rising. Both one, the other, and both, and just allowing yourself to float and be resting here. In a moment, you're going to hear the sound of a singing bowl, and let that be the sound that brings your awareness back to the body lying on the mat. Now start to come back to the breath, noticing the breath again, letting it become deeper and more conscious. Start to bring movement back to hands and feet, fingers, toes, arms, legs. You can bring the knees into the chest, arms around the knees. And then find your way to seated. You can keep the palms together, let the eyes stay closed. I'm going to recite for you the verse by Rudolf Steiner that I sent earlier, and let it soak into you. May light stream into you that can take hold of you. I follow its rays with the warmth of my love. I think with my thinking's best thoughts of joy on the stirrings of your heart. May they strengthen you. May they carry you. May they cleanse you. I want to gather my thoughts of joy before the steps of your life, that they unite with your will for life, so that it finds itself with strength in the world evermore through itself. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I honor the light in you that is the same light in me. Namaste.